Hey everyone, it's Ron Santomassimo with the Massimo Show. I'm really excited today because I think we have our first Long Island broker on the Massimo Show. And that's where I was born and raised. Well, born in New York, raised Long Island. An amazing individual, Ron Koenigsberg, is joining us at the Massimo Show. I can't wait to get started, so let's do it.
Hi, this is Rod Santomassimo, and welcome to the Massimo Show. The objective of the Massimo Show is to share how you can maximize your personal and professional margin. That's right. Let's make more money in less time. Let's turn chaos into clarity, confusion into confidence, and income into real wealth. Along with sharing my insight on how I grew a multi-million-dollar professional business, we will bring you expert advice from various authors, consultants, and industry leaders. We'll provide you the tools you need to build that commercial real estate business and life you have always desired. Welcome to the Massimo Show.
Rod, welcome to the Massimo Show.
I appreciate that, Rod. Thanks so much for having me. Obviously, I was a coaching client for close to 10 years. It's just a privilege to hear those words from you saying that I'm a successful broker. I am from Long Island. We do share that in common, but I am just so happy to be a part of the Massimo Group in any way I can.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And folks, always transparent. Ron is an active Massimo client, long-time client. He's one of the very, very few and select number of clients. Of the thousands of clients we have at the Massimo Group, only a handful have earned what we call our MVP award. And that's our most valuable producer award. For you, it's most valuable partner and producer, I believe. So, Ron, we're excited as heck to have you. I always ask to start off with everyone, and we'll get into where you're doing, folks. And he'll share a couple things in his new book, which is phenomenal. But let's talk about high school Ron. What was Ron like in high school?
Appreciate that. I grew up here in Plainview, Long Island, not far from where you grew up. My dad is a career salesman. And my dad's vision for me and my brother was he wanted the very best for us, as I'm sure your dad, wanted for you and for Vince. He said to me, he put his hand on my brother's head and said, "This is my lawyer." And he said, "This is my accountant." I always envisioned I was going to be an accountant. So I went off to college, American University, and I studied accounting. But while I was there, I couldn't help being me. And me was selling things.
What did you sell?
I was at American University and I sold party promotion. I sold sweatshirts. I sold everything. Basically three things. I sold trucking. When I say trucking, I lifted the stuff to and from in the trucks. Yeah. I sold sweatshirts. And really for me, the main thing was party promotions. Now, it's also interesting. My main competition out there, also the guy that was selling, was a guy by the name of Jordy Belfort. Now, Jordy is a good friend of mine. He's the Wolf of Wall Street. They made a movie about Jordan. Yeah.
I realize that. Yeah. So you call him Jordy, but he's known as Jordan. But you call him Jordy, is that correct?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
So Wolf of Wall Street is your main competition.
Yeah. He thought bigger than me. I'll give him credit. He started selling laundry. You'd give all your stuff to the laundry, except it was run by Jordan. Yeah, he thought bigger than me. And then right out of college, he went into steaks and then stocks. And he's still a friend to this day. So that was the backdrop. So I still listened to my dad, and I went to Arthur Anderson.
When did you go to Arthur Anderson?
Right out of college, 1986. I went to Chicago to their training program. Why, did you work there also?
I went to Arthur Anderson in 1988. Okay. Went to Chicago. Right.
You had a good time there, right?
No.
You didn't?
It was a big bureaucracy. I weren't built for that.
No. I didn't last long. No, I did not last long there. No.
So how long were you with Arthur Anderson?
I want to say 9 months. 9 months. Yeah, 9 months.
I beat you, Ron. I was there for 12 months.
Oh, okay.
They called me and said, "Rob, we'll give you the biggest raise because you're working your butt off." And I said, I quit.
Right. No, I got in the exit interview and the guy said to me, "It's my job to spin you around. We have a lot of money invested in finding you and invested into educating you." The guy said to me, "You got to go out and sell something." That's what he said to me. And honestly, it was green lights ever since.
So how did we make the jump from, because I did, I mean, the first thing when I left Arthur Andersen, I went straight to brokerage. That's the first thing I did and hooked up with a mentor. So what was your first jump from Arthur Andersen to what? And then eventually, how quickly did you get to commercial real estate?
I wish everything was a straight path. I wish everybody who could be listening has a straight path. But I think that there's lessons to be learned that probably never is a straight path. And you certainly have to have a little bit of resilience along the way. I got my master's degree nights, weekends from NYU, great program, and the best real estate company hiring out there was the Japanese life insurance company. So I went to work for a Japanese life insurance company, head of acquisitions, and I crunched numbers for a while. But at least I was in real estate. And then I found my way a few years later to a friend of a friend who said, why don't you sell commercial real estate? I was like, wow. That would just be great. I could combine my love of real estate. I can combine that with my enthusiasm for selling. So became a broker in the mid 90s and I started to do well. And after 4 years, I said to my then boss, I'd like to be a junior partner or I'd like to participate somehow in the long term of the firm. And to his credit, and it's like this to this day, he's a real successful broker. He said, I'm really not looking for partners, but I believe that we could do great together. I ended up leaving. It was a scary thing for me at the time, opening my own firm after 4 years or 5 years without him. And being outside your comfort zone is just that, being outside your comfort zone. I'm sure you felt that way when you opened the Massimo Group.
Well, again, going back, our lives aligned so much. I didn't realize, Ron, I was with my first broker for 3 years. And then I said, I'm going to go start my own brokerage firm. And then it was like, oh, wow, that's something totally different versus having corporate accounts coming to you. It just was totally different. Now, is American Properties named because of the university? I never put those two together.
Yeah. Well, I learned a lot at American University. It was a big success for me. And when I was going to name the company, I also wanted to look at the name on the wall every day and think that I had fun in college. So I also wanted there to be a fun component of my life. So I named American Investment Properties after American University. Yes.
Now, how long has American Investment Properties been around?
I opened American Investment Properties in 2001. Now, I happened to do it really and truly over the July 4th weekend because I wanted to take my business with me. Listen, it's challenging to open a new business. And as soon as I opened up, man, did I hit the ground running. I thought, 60 calls a day was a minimum and it had to be 100, I really went at it. I was doing business right from the start. And the idea of paying a very small rent and being able to keep all the commissions was, wow, this was something. I was going to drink some coffee and stay there till 8 o'clock at night. I don't work nearly that hard anymore. And you know that. I don't know that many people do, but I did in the beginning. And then as soon as I got my deals going, September 11, 2001.
2001.
That was only challenging because no one knew what to do. I mean, do we make calls? Do we not make calls? Do we push deals along? But, we got through that. And so like you said, I think to answer your question, how long have I had the firm? Coming up on 23 years, sorry.
4 years, folks.
23.
Regardless,
24. Yeah.
Folks, statistically, most firms will fail in the first year. And then the majority of those that go on, they get the next 10%, they'll fail in the next 5 years. That's the number.
Every 5 years, I thought 50% drop off.
But the major numbers in the first year and a half, 90% don't make it, right?
Okay.
So yeah, you're right. So think about it, 23 years of running this company. So you've seen everything. Yes, you've seen, unfortunately, the tragedy of 9/11, the dot-com bust. You've seen the Great Recession. You've seen the pandemic.
Right.
And now you've seen this, what people are calling this pause we're having right now. But it's not really a pause. I think it's opportunities. So Ron, the people out there listening to this, you're getting started or 30 years of experience like you, what's been the one common thread to allow you to succeed, and not only succeed, but thrive during these cycles? What is it?
Couple of things. That's where I want to talk about the Massimo Group for one quick minute. I've always had the capacity to make a lot of phone calls. And my coach, Brett Orange, understood that. So one of the things that we focused on was call counts, and I still do. If you go out to my boardroom right now, I use Ring Central because I don't want to hear from anyone any excuses. I want to see how many calls they've made before we can have a meaningful conversation about what's going on. So the two challenges I would say, one was personal. As you know, I went through a divorce. That was a personal challenge, and that's going to happen. But professionally, I had a great run from when I opened the firm in 2001 until like 2009, 2010. And I just got married in 2010. Business, I was making those calls. Nothing changed. I've been making those calls the entire 23 years, but there was no business.
Right.
I was scared.
Right.
I hit a time when I was scared. And I saw an advertisement for the Massimo Group from Bob Knackel. So I'm not a guy who's shy. You know, I want to reach out and I want to know, and I want to know fast. So I went over to the ICS. I never told you the story. I'm looking for Bob Knackel, and Bob Knackel's not there. A guy named James Nelson is there. Mm-hmm. I don't know James Nelson. I didn't know his success. I don't know who he is. I just know he's not Bob. So he says to me, nicest thing he could have said to me was, listen, Bob's not here. What's on your mind? Maybe I can help you. Or at least I can talk to Bob and get back to you. So I said, I see this Massimo Group and I don't know anything about it, but I'm really struggling. Had a lot of success. And by a lot of success, I mean, I was making in excess of $500,000 a year on my own. I think I did, like $425,000 my first year. I had some expenses, but I'm making a lot of money. And now I'm making nothing, but to make matters worse, I'm married now and I had a kid. I had a kid on the way. I didn't have my first son. I had kids later in life until October 2012. So here I am. My son is just born. I'm freaking out. And James Nelson is in front of me. So I say to him, you got to level with me. I need your help. I mean, I'm really struggling here.
Oh, Ron, hold on, because there's some people in the audience that don't have any idea who these people are. So Bob Knackel's a prominent, probably the number one broker in the country as far as what he's accomplished. And he was working along with his colleague, James Nelson, was not on the senior level. Bob was running a firm. James Nelson was also associated with the same firm called Massey Knackel in New York. And just coincidentally, both of these individuals were and are still today clients of the Massimo Group. But go ahead, share your story.
So I said to James, James, I need help. I'm a successful broker, but I don't know what I don't know. I really always felt that way. And he said to me, what's your question? I said, tell me about the Massimo Group and is it worth it? And he could have said anything in the world to me. He could have been a selfish guy, been like, nope, I'm keeping all the success for myself. James Nelson said to me, listen, any questions you have, I'm going to tackle. And he did. And I said, is it worth it? It's a lot of money. And he said, I'm telling you, this is what you're looking for. This is going to help you know what you don't know. And I took his advice. And back then, it was January of 2013. We met all the coaches. You determined for me, because I wanted the Marine, I wanted Bo Barron. You determined for me that I'd be a good fit with Brad. And It changed my life. Within 5 years, I went from really losing money or just getting by to, I'm proud to say, out of, I don't know how many, there's 63,000 brokers on Long Island. I don't know how many are commercial. Even if it's 10%, it's still 6,000 brokers. I turned into Broker of the Year within 5 years. And then that same year I won that MVP bat. And on the back of my book, I wanted something. That bat came in the mail, or it came UPS, whatever that was. Someone took a picture of me and I was smiling ear to ear, and I put it on the back of my book because I wanted the genuine enthusiasm to show through. I think only 6 people have won that bat. Bo Barry's one of them. Bob Knackel's one of them. And I'm one of them. It's just so cool. It's just so cool.
So actually, you won the Long Island Broker of the Year twice. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, don't be shy. It's okay.
Yes. Okay.
And you continue to do great things.
Hey folks, Rod Santomassimo with the Massimo Group. And did you know we work with thousands of your commercial real estate peers over the past 15 years now. And we've helped them build the business and the life they've always desired. And we have programs now for every level of success, experience, and even budget. So if you're tired of living on that transaction treadmill, or living in the chaos and the whirlwind of commercial real estate, if you want more clarity, more control, and more consistency, and higher commissions, give us a call. Visit us at www.massimo-group.com. That's www.massimo-group.com and schedule a free strategy session today.
I know what's key to you is KPIs and metrics and all that
That's right.
alike. So is that one of the foundations of your success? Why have you been so successful and crazy? Folks, I want to put this in context. He's in New York. He works basically, I mean, right now you have 3 or 4 people in your firm today?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
They're all fairly new. It's still most
No.
of the business I
Yeah,
do
they're
myself.
fairly new. You know, the young lady and the young man you just hired. But think about this. How do you win Broker of the Year when you're competing against the JLLs, the Cushman Wakefields, the CBREs? They're all doing institutional work or bigger work in theory. But yet, not once but twice, they say, Ron Koenigsberg, you're the Broker of the Year.
That's a challenge because the big assignments, the big companies, and I understand this better than anyone, publicly traded companies, you know, there's a guy who has a job and he's saying, I'm going to give my assignment to sell a big shopping center to, you know, Cushman and Wakefield. And if something goes wrong, at least, hey, whoa, I did the right thing. I gave it to Cushman and Wakefield. No complaints. I'm able to form relationships. And to answer your question, most major large families that call their own shots, they're willing to meet with me because they don't have to answer to shareholders. And if something goes wrong, it's their own money. So for instance, one of the things was a $27 or $28 million deal when I sold Cherry Valley Shopping Center. The owner called me up and he said, I don't want anybody else but you. And he said, I'm going to write you an exclusive, but if you should die, I'm like, die? Wait, die? I feel great. He said, but if you should die, the exclusive is null and void. I felt pretty good about that. I did. And I stayed alive and I closed the deal.
I stayed alive.
I stayed alive and closed the deal. And he is a good friend to this day. But it's the relationships, it's the phone calls, it's the reaching out.
Okay, so how are you using, I'm leading the charge, and I've been pointed out as someone who's really integrating AI into everything they do. Ron, have you thought about AI at all in regards to brokerage? And if so, what do you think about it?
Yes, I follow you very closely. The Massimo Group, and by extension, Brad and the Massimo Group, has changed my life. I went from being scared that I wasn't going to be a commercial real estate broker, which I love doing, to within a few years being the Broker of the Year, coming in #1. So you're not out of my mind, or the Massimo Group isn't very far out of my mind at all times.
Well, it's very nice, but let's get to AI. Are you using an AI?
About a month ago, I texted or emailed or Facebook messaged you, and you said to me, start messing around with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
You said, pay the $20 and stop messing around with it. There's one thing that I am good at, and that is listening. And I know I don't know. So ChatGPT has been used every day, I would say for 20 or 30 days. How do I use it? For everything. It's almost as if I have a best friend that's much smarter than me standing next to me saying, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? And sometimes when I'm writing things and I say, how does it feel? Tell me about resilience and its adaptability, its strengths, risk-taking, relationships. I'm constantly, it's open right now. So that's a testament. Your screen here and ChatGPT there, only because you told me that 20 days ago.
As those who follow us know, ChatGPT is one of many tools that, Ron, is going to change how we broker. And we'll talk about you and I offline later about that. But okay, so tell me about, and for those who are seeing the podcast, they can't see me holding a book, and it's Power Broker, How to Be Successful in Business and in Life. And the reason I love this subtitle.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah.
Right? Hold on. The reason I love the subtitle is because, as you know, at Massimo, we say, build the business and life you desire.
Oh.
Making a lot of money is great. Ron's been blessed, makes a lot of money. We've been blessed, make a lot of money, but it's the life that matters more. So, Ron, tell me the essence of Power Broker. I love the book. Tell me the essence of the book.
Sure. I grew up and my dad wanted me to have everything I possibly could. He wanted me to be all that I could be. And he just said, listen, if you want to learn how to be great, you have to start reading right now, which was a challenge for me because I'm really severely dyslexic. So I really learned better over time through audiobooks and now audible.com. But I did. I read slowly and I studied Zig Ziglar. He was my favorite. Zig Ziglar got through to me. This motivation, people said, it doesn't last. I did it every day. It didn't make a bit of a difference. I loved these books on tapes. I love Zig Ziglar. failure, enthusiasm. So I really embraced this. And then I started to, guys like Frank Betka, how I raised myself from failure to success. I loved it. Dale Carnegie, Earl Nightingale. So there's always been in my mind, since I guess my dad started this at 15 with me, 15. So we're dealing with 45 years later, this idea that there should be a book that has it all.
Yeah.
So I believe this book has it all, but I also think it's very, very 2024. What do I mean by that? I have children, and and it says right here, I wrote this book for all the fathers out there who want to protect and teach and encourage their children as my father did for me, as I do for mine. This is for Drew and Chase. This book is for them. Now, it is published. It's available on Amazon, but I thought we have challenges that we didn't have when I was a kid. Listen, when I sat in front of a television screen and you sat in front of a television screen, your parents were concerned it was going to rot our brains.
Yes, correct.
So now I see something else, social media. Now, my kids are younger than yours, and my kids are addicted to social media. So let's talk about it. When you start to dig into it, and then I said, you know what? These are the things that I like, that I want my kids to know, just like my dad wanted me to know. A lot of this has to do with fatherhood.
Mm-hmm.
I started to see that childhood obesity was going up. And as you can see, I've also recently embraced social media myself, personally.
Yes, you have.
I have, to promote the book and promote my brand, and it's enjoyable. But I will say this, it's a double-edged sword. When I stay on it too much, it messes up my sleep patterns. It's a very strong thing. So I started to see how social media is impacting. And I just thought it was very important for me to communicate to Drew and Chase the importance of face-to-face communication. The FBI did a study, and it's in the book, 55-38-7. I don't know if you're aware of that,
No.
What happened was we were awful at negotiating. So the FBI, on their own in the United States in the 1970s and 1980s, determined, how do we communicate? They found that 55% of our communication was through our body language, our presence, our in-person presence. It's our being. It's our whole essence. 38% is our tone and the context and how loud or soft. And only 7% is the message.
So 93% of what the communication is will never come through on social media.
That's
It
right.
won't.
That's
Okay.
right. Unless you have a video. You
Yes.
find me the guy, Rod, who asked his girlfriend to marry him via text. That guy's not doing that. You show up in person. It's important, and you want 100% chance. So the FBI found that out, and face-to-face, and I want my kids to know that.
I love it. What a great message. What a great message. So look, this book, Power Broker, emulates, it's immersed with Ron. It's not step-by-step, at least do this, transaction. That's not what this is. It's not. This book is more, if right now you're feeling stuck, if you're questioning what to do, if for any reason you're plateaued, and you just need to say, this is how you go and attack every day. This is how you, in the world of real estate brokerage, but in the context of brokerage, this is how you do it. This is the approach you take. Then this is the book for you. That is the book for you. Is that fair, Ron?
That's very fair. This book was really written because I have a brother who's not a salesman. He's an attorney. Very, very smart guy. But his communication skills are excellent. But he said to me 5 years ago, you want to know what's going to change your whole life? I was like, oh, what? What's going to change? Active listening. He said to me, everybody really wants to be heard. Mm-hmm. And he said, I know you think you're listening. I know you do. But that's where people are transferring their emotions. That's how you're going to connect with people. And for 1 month, I actually said, I'm not good at this. And I literally just repeated back what people said to me. I didn't mimic them. They would say to me, I'm having a bad day. I was like, you're having a bad day. What's going on? How can I help? What's on your mind? Why did you have a bad day? And I started to become an active listener. And then I started to see all these things come together. What my brother said about being an active listener. And then I started to see, a lot of those things that I learned. Dale Carnegie taught you to be a good public speaker. Everyone says I'm a good negotiator. What makes me a good negotiator? And then I started to write this book and really get involved in it. So I think the key takeaway, if I could say to somebody, why should I read this book? I would say to them that 85% of successful people started in sales. I didn't know that. So what came first? Their start in sales or their success? I believe that it's a certain skill set that makes people successful. Now, I've outlined those 9 skills in the book. And when T. Harv Eker in 2005 wrote The Millionaire Mind, he said there's 8 concrete things that every millionaire has. All 8 in my 9 skills.
We're not going to give the book away. Now, Ron, besides Amazon, how else do they get access to this book?
The answer is I didn't know how to publish a book. So what did I do? I reached out to anybody I knew. My first call was to Rod Santomassimo. And you were so nice. I don't know if you remember this. You introduced me to Wally Bach.
Yep.
You said, Wally's going to help you, but he has his own personal challenges, may have a health issue or something. And Wally ultimately wasn't able to help me. But I did get because of you, I did get a meeting with him. And he explained to me how he could help me write a book and that he wasn't available. So I went to another resource. I'm going to put it all out there. I'm not saving a thing. It's all transparent. I went to Upwork because you taught me about Upwork.
Yep.
And I found somebody else. Turns out I gelled with that guy. I would have gelled with Wally because I have a passion for this. And we wrote a book. I needed help. I didn't know how to write a book. So I found the individual on Upwork, and there's many. You can choose for as many as you want. And I self-published. And I have a landing page, www.ronkoenigsberg.com.
We'll put it out on the notes. But I can get this book on Amazon, can't I?
Of course, yeah.
And Audible?
I did, in my thick New York unrecognizable accent. I read it in a studio.
Ron, I will tell you, I've written 4 books now on my fist right now. That book hopefully comes out in 2025, hopefully. The hardest thing for all my books was reading or Audible. That was just, how about you? Was it hard for you?
Of course. I can only say one thing: practice, 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 and practice.
I was trying dyslexia. It must have been much, much harder than for me.
I sort of have to memorize it, yeah.
You had to memorize it, right?
I have to really memorize it.
Right. Okay.
I have to read it so many times that it's basically memorized.
But folks, Power Broker. You got to grab this book. It's a mindset book. It's a real estate book, commercial real estate book. It's going to help you. If you're starting out, this is required reading. It is.
Thank you. Yeah,
if you're plateaued, this is required reading. If you have intellectual curiosity, this is required reading.
If you have a wife.
Or a husband.
Or husband. My bad. If you have a significant other, yes, please read this book and actively listen. That way your partner will feel heard, and in turn, you'll feel heard.
And that's the most important thing. Hey, Ron Koenigsberg, it's great having you on the Moss. Let's give you one parting shot to the audience. Anything you want to share, go ahead and share.
I'm proud of this new book, and I'm really proud of my association with the Massimo Group. I'm glad that in 2012, James Nelson put me in touch with the Massimo Group. It changed my life forever. And I am a top broker or broker of the year or, whatever it is, I'm able to live a fun, dynamic life, doing what I love and knowing a lot more than feeling in the dark. So anybody out there thinking about, joining the Massimo Group, I'd highly recommend it.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much. Everyone else, this has been Rod Santomassimo with the Massimo Show. Don't forget, share us with your friends, share us with your buddies, share with your colleagues, share with your dog. I don't care. If it's always valuable, go ahead and share it. But more importantly, Ron just dropped some knowledge on you. And that's nice, and that's knowledge, but it's not doing. So do what he said. Go out, buy the book, figure out what you need to do. And yeah, make those damn calls. Talk to you soon. Take care.
Hey, that's it. That's a wrap for this episode of The Massimo Show. Once again, hopefully you learned a lot of value provided by our guests, or maybe by me. But the key is this. As we say in Massimo, knowing isn't doing. So don't kid yourself. You have to go out and do the work. You have to implement what you learned if you want to get the results. And please, if you like this episode, please share it. Share it with your colleagues, share it with your friends. Heck, share it with your dog. Just share it. And we look forward to seeing you next time on The Massimo Show.